doing out there? It's time for It's Your City, Harold Doucet.
Good.
We have in the house today Dr. Porterie and Miss Jean. What's your first name? Phyllis Jean. And they're going to be talking about how the progress of the bond has gone and how the school district is doing, you know. And I hope everybody had a good dry weekend. No, we had a lot of rain out there. But we wasn't California, but we did need some rain. The grass getting green, and hopefully we can get those lawns wired away. But as always here on the Breeze for It's Your City, we try to bring you information that has an impact on the city itself, and also making sure that you get the correct information and not have to rely on rumors. We've been talking a lot about the politics and the government lately. However, we cannot move away from a very vital part of our city, and that's the school district. You know, sometimes people have a tendency to forget how important school districts are to cities. You know, that is the difference of an individual deciding to move and live in the city that has school-aged children and not live in your city. So we want to make sure that we give you information and keep you abreast of our school district, because a lot of time the school district is like the government. You have a lot of people out there got their bright ideas and their opinions, and sometimes they voice that as opposed to what the actual facts are. And today what we want to do is make sure we stay in line with what is actually happening in our school district. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce first the superintendent of our school district, Dr. Porterie. And he and Ms. Jean could take it from there. They could tag team with us today, and I'll give them a break about 1 second to take a sip of water, and then you all can come back and continue to ask the questions. As always, if you have questions, please ask. And other than that, they will be giving you the information. And if you feel like asking them a question, feel free to do so by simply calling area code 409-982-0247. And that's the Breeze, KSAP 96.9 on the FM. Or if you follow us on the internet, www.thebreeze, KSAPthebreeze.org. And Dr. Porterie, I'm going to tell you this, the first actual day, Diamond was the first one to be going countywide, put a new antenna up, so y'all can be heard more than 3 blocks today. So y'all gonna get a lot of listeners, and hopefully if anyone in our listening area, feel like asking questions, feel free to do so. So good morning to both of you.
Good morning to you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine.
Great.
Okay, let's talk about that bond. How's the bond progressing?
Well, our bond is progressing really, really well. We want to thank our community for allowing us to have another bond. On November 4th, the community approved a $195 million bond with some of the things that would be happening, new schools. We have 3 new schools that we're preparing for at this particular time. Memorial Ninth Grade Center, Travis Elementary, and Sam Houston Elementary. Along with other things, transportation and maintenance. We have renovations to all of our other facilities as well. We have sold the first $100 million. What we said was we would do it in intervals in order for us not to increase taxes, and that was something that we had talked about during the information session of the bond when we were talking about passing it, that we would not raise taxes. So we are sticking to our word in that vein. I'm asking Ms. Jean, right now we're working on contracts, a lot of contracts, and working with the architects and the contractors. So I'll let Mrs. Jeans talk about a little bit about how we're progressing in that mode.
Well, thank you. We've been successful in getting complete our contract negotiations with our local and minority vendor consultant. So that's already been approved and they're in place. Our architects, last week we finalized our 5th architect agreement. So all of those are in place. The architects that we have in place will also assist us with tarot. So we're looking at all all 5 architects. Then our program manager, we're in the process of getting we're in negotiation with them, and hopefully we'll get that finalized this week. Then the CMARs, the contracts went out last week to them. We will begin our negotiations with them soon. I think it's due back to the end of this week, the agreements.
As we move along, we're really talking with contractors, engineers, and we'll be talking with school personnel in order to see what types of schools they want to see renovated. We will have committees that's made up of school personnel, parents, some students as well, just to see what type of schools they want to see in our district. I know at Travis, when we were talking about the building of the schools, the students had grouped their school, what type of school they wanted, and they had a complete wall of drawings from the students, which I thought was really, really good. So you want to involve everyone in that process, as many people as we possibly can. We are excited. Most of you will know John Cummo. John Cummo has joined our team in during last week or week before last, and he will be working with our local business minority consultant, Mr. Calvin Stevens. And Mr. Stevens working with John Cummo, they'll be looking at our local businesses to see how they can be a part of the bond, which we did say. We want our local businesses, local contractors to have a part in the bond. But we also want to make sure that everyone knows that qualifications are important.
You know, Dr. Porterie, that's the facet that I'm most interested in with the bond, and that is that we employ local people. And I, like you, we want to employ local.
Correct.
But the first and foremost priority is quality.
Correct.
You know, you don't sacrifice quality to say we're going to hire somebody because they pulled off. We want to build good schools.
Exactly.
That's going to last, and you know, that's the priority.
Correct.
To build a quality school. The next priority is to employ as many qualified Port Arthur businesses and people in order to have some of that tax dollars to remain here in our community. And but at the same token, I think we need to ensure that individuals understand what's going to be some of the qualifications. You know, what do they need? You know, what qualifies them? Are we going to do any type of job fair or any informational type thing whereby you sit and you let people know if you want to work, these are the things that you need? Because somewhere down the line, people think because I can do this and I know how to do it, and I've been doing it for 20 years, that I'm qualified to do it, but they don't have bond, they don't have capacity, they don't have insurance, you know, they don't really know. Because I found out that when I look into most of our black businesses, you know, here in Port Arthur, and that was when I was a councilman and all, I found out that we like what it takes to get the contracts, you know, and one of the things and tools that are available for the small business and stuff is, you know, getting registered as a hub. Because I don't know how this school district, boy, we got a call already. This is going. This might be a long day. Okay, caller, you on the air.
Yes, it's a good program, and I'd like to ask the question to Director Mr. Porterie and y'all. What y'all plan to do for special education? I went to talk to some of the people, and they're liking with equipment and lunch boxes for the hearing impaired, the children and stuff. Could you tap on a little of that for me, please?
Okay.
Disabled children, special education, please.
Okay. When we deal with special education, thank you, caller, for calling in and asking about our special education students. A lot of times, people think we tend to forget about special education and lead only to the regular ed, the GT, gifted and talented. But special education is a large part of our population. One premise that we talked about is moving all of our students under one roof. And that is one thing that we are intending to do at Sam Houston, for instance. Our special education students are outside, and they're in the portables, and we want to move them into the building. We understand that now we have several levels of special education which we have to address, and we are doing that. We have students now that are bipolar. We have students that are on that have tracheas. We have students with catheters. We have wheelchair. We have all types of students that fall under the umbrella of special ed besides just the learning disabilities. So we are looking at ways to ensure that all students in the district have what they need in order to be successful.
Sounds good. I'd like to compliment on TJ School. They're doing an excellent job with the special education children. They have the children within the system at the school, working through the mainstream with the regular children, and they're entwined with them, and they're learning. And the staff, I want to tell you, is excellent with the children.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, definitely. Thank you. And I'll pass that on to the principal and the staff.
Okay, caller, thank you for your call.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad to see that you all, the first call, gave a compliment. Because, sometimes you hear, what have you done for me lately, more than what are you doing?
Correct.
So
Correct.
That's a good thing. But as I was saying before the caller call, is the hub, being registered hub, whereby a lot of governmental entities are required to contact hubs and get them to put in bids. And a lot of times people fail to understand that you could partnership.
Correct.
And where you could gain capacity, or you come with somebody who meeting the qualifications, and you could get a bigger job. And I think those are the things that a lot of the minority business contractors, subcontractors here in Port Arthur, really doesn't understand. And I had a problem trying to get them to understand, you have to take certain steps for me to be able to get out and really hold people feet to the fire to hire, because my thing is, if a person is fully qualified and meet all requirements, then I feel that they should get the priority and get these contracts here in our city, not just talking school district now, I'm talking citywide, because the idea is the money stays here, the taxpayers pay it, you pay somebody, they put it back in the system, and the money stays here, and it helps a lot. So but I'm going to let you talk about how y'all going to, look here, Miss Jean say she got it. And y'all notice Miss Jean, when she's big, y'all hear like me, loud and clear. Now, Dr. Porterie can talk without a microphone, but he get in the studio on that microphone, and you can't hardly hear me, like a little mouth. What's wrong with it, Miss Jean? Talk to me.
No, I was just going to let you know the way the process really works is, for us, we have established construction managers at risk, and that the construction managers at risk are for 3 of the projects. It's for the 9th grade center, for Sam Houston, and for Travis. In those cases, we went out first. I wanted to just kind of make sure you understand how the process works. We first went out and identified those construction managers at risk by interviewing them and looking at their qualifications. That's all we can do. The next step is to get the price that they would charge. So we're looking now to see exactly what the price is. We went back to the board and got the board's approval to negotiate with the different construction managers at risk. We've completed that phase. Once they finish that and they come back with estimated price for the project, and the price mainly is their fee, because in addition to what it would cost, we've given them an estimated cost for each project, but they come back with, this is what fee we're charging the district to manage the whole process. That construction manager at risk is responsible for working with all of the subcontractors, identifying which subcontractors will assist them. Our consultant, Calvin Stevens, and Mr. Como will be working with each one of the construction managers at risk to assist them, staying in tune with what projects, what phase of the projects that they will have in place. So they will work with them and try to work with the community to make sure that they're plugged in, have all of the necessary paperwork. If there's any bonding that needs to take place, Mr. Stevens will work with the community, the vendors, to make sure that they have those processes in place so that they could participate.
Okay, for all of you out there who's always talking about, we ain't contacted, we gonna get work, you just heard the process, and you see here that there's a plan, and this plan is set up to ensure that those qualified have the opportunity to apply and have individuals that are looking at Port Arthur contracts. So when the word gets out, make sure you get to apply. And I like that by going to get the risk manager for minority. You know, that's basically what anybody do with a GC. We call them general contractor. You get your general contractor, you tell him this is what I want built, and he come back and tell you how much he gonna charge you to build this, and then he now employs all the subcontractors to do the job, and he just sits back and manages this whole job, and he gets his cut, and everybody else did the work. So we basically done that, but in this case we have someone that's going to be looking at minorities and the system in place, and also helping them select them, and also giving them advice in the event they can get something in time and still meet the time in which to get the job. So I can see that that's basically what we really need to do in order to make sure that we've made all our efforts to get the minorities and the citizens here and the residents of Port Arthur working to earn some of their tax dollars. So
there's a database that Mr. Stevens maintains of those that have already been interviewed, and already he's aware of those businesses in the area. He maintains a database.
So, what about Mr. Stevenson? Do you have contact information you could put out, or just tell them how to contact Mr. Stevens?
I didn't bring his phone number, but we can provide that for you. Yes, for him and for Mr. Como. Okay,
so Ms. Jean, could they call you? Or can you give them a number to call at the school in which that information could be made available?
Yes, and if you want to, just call 409-989-6222, and then we will be able to forward you. Both have phones, cell phone numbers, and both we have a website that we're going to have as well. that the website, you will be able to get on the website and ask any questions that you would like, and they'll get back with you.
Okay, once again, that number is 989-6222. 989-6222. That will get you the information, Mr. Stevens, and Mr. Como, and you'll be able to know what it takes to apply for work during the school bond. Okay, so we talked about the job, which I hear a lot about, and like I said, that's why I invite you and Miss Jean. I didn't know Miss Jean was coming here. Now I know next time I'll call you and ask you, Miss Jean. So if he's busy, I can get somebody from the school, because I want to do more with the school. I want to do more with the school because I want people to really understand the progress and what's happening in our school district, and I want them to be able to ask any questions that they have so they could be answered, and they get the answer rather than listening to opinions and what someone think or what someone know. But the work we've talked about, and what's been happening lately? Y'all just finished what? Audit?
Yes, well, we have several audits going on. Last week we completed the Advanced Ed audit, which is a curriculum and school audit. It's accreditation as well. And we are one of 4 districts in the state of Texas that has this accreditation. So they came in, it was 7 individuals that came into the district, interviewed over 130 individuals, community people, students, teachers, parents. They looked through all of our files to ensure that we were doing what we needed to do in order for students to be successful. We also have an audit going on right now, is talking about the procedures that we are having in place. It's a procedural audit. We did have our regular yearly audit with Whitney Penn, and that turned out really well. And then we decided to go further and get a procedural audit where we're looking at all the procedures that we're doing, that we have in the district, and making sure that they're correct, and also making sure that if there are recommendations that we'll address those recommendations as they're coming. We've completed the human resource. Now we're in the business office. Now that Ms. Jean's talked about a little bit that's happening in there as well.
We have 2 audits right now. They're called agreed upon procedures. And the agreed upon procedures, the way that process works, you actually.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but that agreed upon procedure has been a hot topic in case you all didn't know lately. Okay, did y'all know?
Yes.
Okay, the little bit Jean say, yeah. Okay, Miss Jean, go ahead on.
The reason that it's called agreed upon procedures is because it's agreement between the auditor and the owner, and they will request certain areas to be reviewed. The agreed upon procedures that they're working on right now is in the area of our technology and IT department. We're looking to see if we've got enough, we're safeguarding our assets to make sure that no one can gain access to our information, which is critical. You want to make sure that the employee is protected, where employees who need the access have the access that they can get to the information, but only the information that's necessary to do their job. So we're looking at technology and looking at the IT, the information system there. We're looking at it for in the area of student information and looking at our timesheets, how everything is managed there. Then finally, we're looking at the financial and HR databases.
It's so ironic that's one of the procedures that you're doing right now, And the reason I said that, because that was one of the alternatives that the one of the council members had made for the city to do. And what they found out when they talked with the CPA was that, the agreed upon procedure wasn't an audit. What it was a procedure in which a firm is hired to look into a certain area which you develop the scope of what you want. And that information that they find, they don't give it to a third person, neither do they give you an opinion, neither do they give you a conclusion. They only and they don't check internal controls.
They do.
But
Yes.
But-
Okay,
but
everything you said, that's what they're doing. Yes, they will give us recommendations.
okay,
Yes, they are going through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and they came up with things that, areas in which they were going to look at. For instance, and we understand that there are things throughout the city, throughout our community, that people are looking at, and we decided to move forward with our own audit because we wanted to know what was happening with us. Week before last, the auditor came in and he asked randomly, give me, I think it was 30, 40 names of individual employees in the district. And we gave him those names and he went out to each location to find those individuals. He wanted to see them and if they were really there, who we were actually paying. So that's something that was out of our control. He didn't tell us who, but he just told us, give me a list of names and this is who I want. We gave them to him. He came in and he went to each of the campuses.
oh yeah,
to see.
well, I understand that. That's all in your scope.
Correct.
But
Okay,
when
you
you're
know,
defining the scope, excuse me for cutting you off, but when you're defining the scope, when we say agreed upon, it's because the person that's most knowledgeable about what the process is and what the procedures are, they talk to the auditor side by side. Dr. Porterie was there. We're all in the room, and he's asking us questions. So tell me, how does this work? How does this work? He's making notes on understanding what the internal controls are that's in place.
Right.
He develops his own audit test. The school district doesn't develop the test for him.
Oh yes, I understand that.
Oh.
And not saying that that's not. Anytime you bring anybody in to look at your system that is not going to be controlled is a good
Correct.
procedure,
Correct.
okay?
Correct.
And that's not no question about that and not understanding it, okay? It's just the idea that it's a procedure, but it's one that someone do because they want to find out if we have problems or
Correct.
they want to find out where they stand as opposed to
Correct.
not doing nothing about it, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
And I'm glad that we're doing something in our school district because, what's happening in Beaumont, a lot of time when you don't check your system, things happen, and a lot of time people in position of responsibility don't know what's really happening. And 2-3 people can go astray and hurt the whole system, in which it seems like no one is doing their job or no one know what they're doing, but in turns there's only a couple of bad apples. They talk about the Beaumont Independent School District, but having the common sense, and after all is said and done, I don't see how people can talk about the district because of limited number of employees involved. When we start talking in general, there's no basis. To say that somebody has a system where everybody is competent, everybody is honest, everybody has integrity, we call that a utopia. Utopias don't exist. But when you do procedures like you all doing and audits like you all do, and you do them periodically, what you do is you stay on top of it, so if it's anything that's going astray,
Correct.
you can identify and catch it.
Correct.
As opposed to letting a molehill develop into a mountain.
Correct.
So, that's a good thing. And you're covering all phases.
We're we've finished HR, we're doing payroll, and we're doing IT. And then the next phase is purchasing and accounts payable.
You know, and what we've said was, and we have never, ever looked on Beaumont or the city or anyone in a negative light, by no means. We understand everyone has their problems. However, what we've said it to the public, we would be lacked or remiss if we do not see what's happening in other areas and not do something within our own area to prevent or see if there's something that we need to do. It would be crazy. I'll just say that it'd be crazy not to.
Lessons learned.
Yeah, so we want to know that we are doing well, and we want to know areas in which we can strengthen. And everyone has been open to that, because we definitely do not want to get into anything that others have gotten into over the recent years across the United States. I'll say that.
Oh yes, and I tell you, and I think that you are doing a great job in taking those steps, because like I said, you know, the thing that people say about them, they'll say about us. So one little thing happens. So when these things occur and you've done what you've done, then people know that there were actions being taken that was in place to prevent these things from happening. And as in always, you can't stop a crook. You know, all systems are always centered for honest people, but the crooks find a way to go around it. But if you put in these places and take the actions that you all are describing now, then we feel good that our school district is understanding we're not vulnerable, and unless we do something, we could be in this same state. And I think that's what you're saying.
Correct. Right? Exactly.
You know. And all of the areas that you talked about are teachers, classroom instruction included. Are you going to have them?
Yes.
Observe?
Exactly. Yes, as I said, we had that last week. Advanced Ed was here, and they visited classrooms. They talked with teachers, they talked with parents, they talked with community folks to see exactly what we were doing. We've been working on the audit for over 4 months, trying to get everything together, because the first part of it is a self-assessment to assess where you think you are. And then they come in and they want to see the proof, the evidence of what you said you've done. So we had to gather evidence, and they went out and looked to see if those things were in place, and they had to visually see it. So that was a good thing, and it put us on our toes. A lot of things we are doing that we just forget about. We've never put it all together. So it was a good exercise for us as a district to see where we need to strengthen, what we need to do that we can celebrate. And so we did have some very good marks and very good overall grading on that. So we were happy.
Okay. So you feel comfortable that the school district is moving in the right direction?
Oh, definitely. The school district is moving forward. There are some things, I'm not going to say we're perfect at, by no means.
No utopia. I've already said that. We don't have utopias.
No.
So we don't want anything perfect. I'm scared of, okay?
Exactly. But we do have teachers that are working extremely hard. We have administrators that are working hard. We have students that actually want to learn, and that's a good thing. There's some things that we're putting in place where we have to work with students. We have to work with our parents as well. For the entitled, right now we're looking at a lot of our students feel that they're entitled to certain things, and you know, I guess that's a problem that's across the United States of America, and we try to let them know that no one's entitled to anything. You have to work for everything that you get, and that is something that we're trying to instill in our students. As I said, we're in the testing mode right now. We're in the process of having our STAR test and our end of course testing that is upon us, and we'll see exactly how we do this year. But I will say teachers have worked extremely hard, and our students have been focused. We have some students that actually are a challenge. Yes, we do. You know, and they're a challenge for various reasons. I do not feel that students come to school with the issues that they do have because it's all their fault. A lot of times our students come to us and they have concerns, but it's really life has given them those concerns, where they are in life. Some of our students, they're homeless, they have no food, they have no clothes, they don't know where their parents are. And for us to think that they can come into a classroom and sit down and listen to the teacher and grasp everything that a teacher is telling them, trying to deliver to them on that day is really crazy. We have to meet them at their needs where they are and try to help them. Because right now, before in times past, teachers' responsibility was to teach. We have the responsibility now to clothe, we have to feed, we have to do psychological testing, emotional testing. We have to hug them. We have to discipline them. Sometimes we're doing cutting the hair. Sometimes we're combing the hair. A little bit we're doing the shots. We're doing everything for our students to get them to where they are. So it is a bit of a challenge in some cases, but I think we're moving in the direction of meeting those challenges as they come about.
During the Golden Triangle Days in Austin last month, we had the opportunity to be addressed by legislators who were dealing with the education and the education committees, and they were talking about bills that they were trying to get through to improve education here in the state of Texas. And he said something that caught my attention, but I've always thought this, and it's so ironic that they feel this way, but we haven't progressed from it. And that is the biggest challenge that he said the legislators have found from talking to teachers and organizations here in the state of Texas dealing with education. And the biggest obstacle is discipline in the schools, trying to get discipline. They found out that one of the main things that teachers say, and what they found out, is that there's not enough disciplines within the schools.
Correct. I'll say this, and by no means, I know parents do the very best job that they possibly can in order to assist us, and we try to incorporate our parents into the schools as much as we possibly can. But in times of old, when discipline was not as big of a problem because the eyes were upon us throughout our community and the schools. And when things happened at the schools, the parents were not as quick to blame the teacher. They wanted to know, what did you do to cause this problem? And students understood that they could not get over at the school and at home. Now we have a bigger challenge because not all, I'm going to preface this by saying not all, but a large percentage of our parents feel that when things happen at the school, it is the school's fault, no matter what, and they will not take responsibility for their children. A lot of our parents do not take responsibility for their children's action. When a child comes to school and is disruptive, it's not all the school's fault. Parents have a big part to play in that. So yes, discipline is a must. We do try to, we instill in our teachers that you have to plan and you have to prepare. Because if you come in, if a teacher comes in the classroom and is not, and they are not prepared, then the students are going to understand that, and then they're going to take advantage. So teachers have to be prepared, but it has to be a partnership between the home and the school. Because if it's not going to work.
Well, the reason I brought that point up is because that's something I had experienced when I visit schools or hear information or things going on in school. And I relate it back to the time when we were in school. And to hear the legislator and our legislators talking about this being a problem in the state, it kind of makes you think, okay then, if you all at that level know that this is a problem, you all have to do something at that level here in this state of Texas to help school districts and faculty to deal with students and help establish policies and rules at that level through TA to help. You know, if they see that problem and they know this problem exists and they say this is our major problem, I can imagine what it is at your level, because they're saying, you know, we're trying to find a fix for it. If the lawmakers can't find a fix for it, then I go back to say, well, how can the school district find a fix for it? Because whatever the school district do, you all going to want to know and want to have a say on whether it's going to be allowed in our state or now. So why don't you help if you know this is a big problem? And I grant you that I tell people all the time, it's so ironic when I look at society today, when you talk about when we were in school back in those days, you know, everybody was your parent who was old.
Exactly.
Any grown-up was your parent. You had to say yes sir, no sir. And if someone saw you doing something in the street, they called home. You got a whipping when you get home. If you did something at school, you got a whipping at school. Then when you get home, you got another whipping because they call home. So we always hope that when we got a whipping at school that it stayed there and it didn't go home.
Exactly.
So you know, we were real happy about it. But I think a lot of that came because I know my parents did not have the type education that we were getting. So they could not help us with homework, but what they did, they made sure that we did homework.
Correct.
Before we could go play, and they would make sure that they asked.
Exactly.
And if we said no, it was no during them days. It wasn't no, but we really had homework. And if we didn't do well in school, then we had to answer for that. And I think that the disconnect is in twofold. I think now we have education being taught now with curriculums and methods and with computers and stuff, whereby when the kid come home, the parent hasn't a clue on how to help the students. So they don't want to be involved, but they don't understand. It's not the idea of you actually knowing it. You need to be able to have them
Exactly.
to get help. We got a caller. Okay, caller, you on there?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Porterie a question. When the school board meetings, I went there one day to find out that the lady was very nice in the front office, but I didn't see no literature or nothing. They got a big sign on 73. Maybe they could display and tell us when the people know when y'all gonna have the school board meeting or a sign or something. Or could you kind of imprint on that a little bit for me, please?
Yes. Our school board meetings are held the fourth Thursday of every month. And then they are publicized on our Channel 7 website. But yes, they're every fourth Thursday at 7 o'clock. We start at 5:30, and the board members attend closed session. Then we come out at 7. So it's every Thursday. The only time is not on a Thursday, the fourth Thursday, is during the Christmas time when we move it up a week, and maybe Thanksgiving.
Okay. And do you think they can, for some people that might not be able to understand some of that, could you have maybe a paper or something when they go in there and steal something, you know?
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't have all that web and all that old folks don't have all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
They could put a paper on there somewhere they can just go in there and read it or see it or sign outside.
Okay.
I'm sorry to bother you, but you've been doing such a good job.
No, not a problem. We can do. We have a market. We can put on the market. We'll put it out as well. Yes, we can. We can do it. We'll do a better job at promoting it. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You know, Mr. Doucet, one thing you said that and that we missed, and I'm sure your parents, my parents, what they told us, and what we don't hear a lot of, and I'm sure parents want it, but you don't hear it as readily as it has been in the past. Parents told us, I want you to do better. than what I did.
Oh, yes.
You know, no matter where they were, they say, you have to do better. You know, and we don't hear that. A lot of times now we hear, well, it was good for my mother, it was good for me, it's good for you. So there's no aspiration to do better.
To excel.
Exactly. And our parents instill that in us. Do better than what I've done.
You know, I look at integration and equal opportunity, and I look at the affirmative action. These were all good tools to help minorities, but we went from taking advantage of them and bettering ourselves to saying that, okay, we don't have to do nothing, it's there. You know, I truly feel that when we understood we had to work hard and excel to be equal,
Correct.
we did that.
We did it.
But
Yes.
I think a lot of people, like you mentioned earlier when you were talking about when you allow the kids to have input, some of the things they come up with, they think they're entitled to
Yes.
without being earned. And and it comes right back to what we're talking about now, is the kids today don't know how to work. And I'm not saying all kids, because you know we got some kids, and I'm quite sure they're going to be
Correct.
flamers, or they're going to do great things that came from right here in Port Arthur, and not necessarily going to be in Port Arthur, but around
Exactly.
the United States. But at the same token, you know, you have to work. Those who excel, they didn't excel because they were given.
Correct.
They excel because they actually worked
For it.
for
You
it.
know, a lot of times, you know, and now I think one other thing that is missing is the students that do not dream. You know, we were dreamers
Yeah.
when we were coming up. When someone asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? There was always an answer. A fireman, a police chief, a football, anything, a doctor, a lawyer. But you at least had a dream to be something better. You ask a lot of our students now, they shrug their shoulders because they really have not seen or even attempted to dream about what life really could be about. It's not about today. It's about what you want to do tomorrow. What aspirations do you have for 10, 20, 30 years down the road? And we are trying to ask our children to dream more, to think about things that you want to maybe accomplish in the future. It's not about today only. And in order, when you dream about things, then you have to put a plan in place in order to get there. And life is about planning. If you don't have a plan for your life, you're going to be stagnated in the same position. So we ask our parents, even, you know what, and I'm not saying this to be offensive by no means, but even if parents haven't been the best parent, you know, even if parents have made mistakes in their lives, most parents don't want the same thing for their child.
That's what I'm talking
You know,
about.
so why is it that parents don't say, yes, I made the mistake, but I don't want it for you.
That's right.
I may have gone to jail, I may have been on crack,
But you ain't going.
but you're not going to do it.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes, I did that. That was my choice, and you see where I am.
Mm-hmm.
That is not good enough for you.
There you go.
You are my child. You can do better. But you don't hear that. You know,
I
you don't
know.
hear it as often as we should hear it. And it's okay to say you made a mistake. It's when you don't admit it, it's when the problem comes in.
Okay, caller, you on the air.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. And Doc, thanks for being at the Breeze Radio. Appreciate you being in the house. My question is relative to the programs that you have at Memorial regarding careers. I know you mentioned that some of our kids, they don't dream, and some parents may not be good parents, but if they don't want for their kids what they had for themselves. Can you kind of share with us a little bit of where we were and where we are now in career development for the youngsters as they approach finishing high school, becoming adults in society?
Correct.
Thanks for taking my call.
Great, thank you. I think what you're talking about is our career and technical education. We have come to understand that every child in our district and the United States will not go to a 4-year university, college or university. That's fine. There's so many other avenues that students have, so many other options that students have where they can make wonderful living. We have the welding, we have drafting, we have nursing, we have cosmetology, we have carpentry. All of these things that you can make a wonderful 6-figure salary in some cases, and not just here in Port Arthur, but across the United States of America. We have several areas, and now what we're doing is working through our middle school and trying to figure out through House Bill 5 what track these students would like to take in order to maintain these avenues. So that is a good thing. Our students have a great opportunity to be anything that they want to be. And then we do have the area in which to do that. As I said, the career and technical is one of the best kept secrets in Port Arthur. It's wonderful. So we want our students to take advantage of those areas and be able to understand different options. We also have the Wilson early college and career that we're looking at to see where we want to hit with our students. And early college and careers where we would have students that enter 9th grade and partner with Lamar State College. And when those students would complete their 4-year high school career, what we might call it, they would end up graduating with a diploma and a associate degree. So those things are in place for the 16-17 school year. But students do have options, and they don't have to just rely saying, I must go to college, I have to go to a university. There's so many other areas in which they can be successful.
Oh, man. You on there, Steve?
Hello?
You on there?
Okay, thank you. Yes, one other thing. Is there such a program, or is there any tracking of the students, as they go through the programs and then leave high school and maybe out in society on jobs and all for a period of time? So you document all this and have this as, some useful information to direct and change your program to address issues and projects that may better serve the students. I'll hang up on this.
Okay. We have been asked that question in order to see how we can track our students who attend colleges and universities and careers. We are working to see how we can do a better job at that, but at this point, no. Once our students graduate, it's difficult for us to keep track of them because sometimes they travel throughout the United States of America. We have a better chance at following our students and tracking our students who enter the 2-year, 4-year universities. But we are looking at areas and ways that we can get those students to come back and let us know exactly how they're doing and what progress they're making.
That's interesting because that's what I wanted to speak about also is VOTEC. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people fail to realize is that every student has talent doing something. And not everyone is going to go to like a 4-year school. We got a call. You on the air, caller?
To Dr. Porterie, I just want to ask a question.
Turn your radio down, please.
I would like to ask, can they have more hands-on learning? Do you think more hands-on learning would be helpful?
Yes, ma'am. I do agree. Manipulatives are important, especially in our primary areas, grades K2, hands-on in mathematics and science. Yes, and they need more of that, more thinking. A lot of our curriculum is geared to problem solving. It has moved into problem solving. So yes, they have to do a lot of thinking and hands-on would be beneficial as well in some of the curriculum areas, some of the core curriculum areas. Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of children learn hands-on instead of just speaking to them or listening, because their learning ability is they don't pick it up as fast, and
Correct.
they easily
Correct.
easily,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and that's a perfect example of the career in tech. For the high school, 9 through 12, we have students at our high school that can take a car apart and put it back together. But they learn that through hands-on activity, not just textbook and lecture. They actually have the application. There are cars there that they're working on. They paint, they do welding. All of these activities are hands-on activities. And you are correct, when we're dealing with primary students, manipulatives, where they can actually see the application of what the teacher is trying to teach. If they can visualize it, if they can put their hands on it and see it happening, you are correct. As well as in science, when there's a science lecture part, and then there's the laboratory part, where students move from lecture into lab to make sure that what they've been taught actually can happen. When you're mixing solutions or building different programs, yes, hands-on is a must in those areas, and you are correct.
so many people learn different ways.
Yes, ma'am.
You have so many people learn different ways, and it's not that they are not capable of learning.
Oh, by no means.
That you haven't touched them in the way that they learn.
Correct. You are totally correct. Yes, ma'am. And then that's the job of the district to find out. That's why we have this word that we've used for years. It's called differentiated instruction. And that means that every child learns differently. You have your kinesthetic learners, you have your all types of different ways. And you are correct that there are students that learn by touching, by feeling. There are students that can
That's
listen
right.
and pick up. And we have to figure out a way in order to touch each and every child so they can reach their potential. You are correct.
That's right. And I feel like we're losing them if we don't give that.
Correct. Those options. And it's up to us to make sure that students have options in which would be beneficial to them.
Yes. All right, thank you, Mr. Porterie. You're doing a good job, and
Thank you.
keep it up, and thank God for you.
Thank you. Pray for me, please.
Okay.
And thank you for your call. Okay, but as I was stating earlier, and the reason I talk about vocational, do you administer the ASVAB as a school, or does the recruiters?
The recruiters.
Okay, and the reason I mention that is I spent time in recruiting in the military, and I used to really push for the ASVAB to be given in schools. And the reason I did that, because it wasn't about joining the military, but I found out that vocational aptitude battery test actually tells an individual where their talent lies, because it doesn't deal with just math comprehension, but it deals with mechanics. It deals with all of these aspects. And I had one high school in Jonesboro, Georgia, which was one of the higher mental category, but they refused to administer the ASVAB. And I talked with the principal, and he decided to try it one year, and he did it, and from then on he started doing it, because I got him to understand that this is not something that you're doing for the military. You're doing it because this is a tool that you, as an educator and in education, can use, because when you counseling a student to know where that student's scoring higher at in these different areas is something that you can actually relate to the student. And that vocational battery test identifies a lot of the students that may not have the mental aptitude to attend college, however, shows that they're real good in mechanics.
Correct.
So, that test there is a tool that you can use, and at the same time, it doesn't require any work on your part. All it requires is providing a place for the test to be administered, because the recruiting district will provide all the tests and stuff. You know, and I used to use that test as a basis to talk to students, because I was involuntarily selected to work in recruiting, so I really didn't care to be a recruiter. I'd rather have been in the military, but once I got into it and found out how the vocational aptitude barrier test was and how important it was to education, and working with school districts, you know, I really got sold on it. And that part of my career in the military is the reason that I'm so adamant about our school district, and the reason I know how important our school district is to our city. You know, when I first got back in 2000, I first retired and I came back, the first thing I told my brother, I can't believe that we are in the same schools that we were in when I left Port Arthur in 1968. So, you know, you travel, you know, and you see all these schools being built with the modern technology, and you come back and you ask yourself why we haven't moved. And a lot of people don't understand that the environment, part of the environment that you provide for teaching is those schools when they walk on the campus. I truly believe that there's something that the city can do. I think we can make sure that around any of our schools that there's no dilapidated buildings, that it is free from lotteries, you know. But we have to put emphasis on these school districts. Okay, Carl, it's your time.
Hello.
You on?
How you doing? I'm Brother Trudy Durson. I'm calling from Beaumont. I'm listening to the program, and I have since its inception. And then the question I would like to ask you, whatever happened to the communication program? I heard you speak about welding and all the other programs, but whatever happened to the communication program?
Yeah, they have the public relations as well, if that's what you're asking. They do.
They do have a communication program?
Correct.
Okay, well, I didn't hear you mention that, because
Okay, yeah.
in the area of Southeast Texas, we have like 3 radio stations, and then, not radio stations, we have 3 television stations, and none of them hire a black sports announcer, because I noticed Mr. Haynes was over that communication program.
Correct.
And I spoke with him, and the program don't exist.
Yeah.
I'll just hang up, Dr. Porterie, and I'll listen to what you have to say.
Yes.
Thank you.
And yes, we do have that program. Mrs. Harrison is over the program now, and they're doing a very good job. As a matter of fact, they're out. They're videotaping our Teachers of the Year. They videotape several things. If you recall, last year our graduation was streamed online, so people around the United States really could watch our graduation online. So yes, we do have the communication. There was a question about electrical, and we are working toward that with Lamar University as well, with our students. So we do have some things on their rise as well. And what you were talking about, Mr. Doucet, we do have, not the ASVAB, but we do have CUDAR, Career Assessments and Development, and that is done in our middle school. Students do take that test to find out exactly where their interest lies. So we do have something that's compatible to what you're talking about with ASVAB.
Yeah, well, the only reason I mentioned ASVAB is it doesn't require any monetary
Correct.
concern of yours. It doesn't require any of your staff being involved. It's all you do is provide a place, and all that other stuff will be done. But the results you get, so therefore a counselor can actually look at this test and see vocational's
Correct.
skills. And normally what they would normally do it for like the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade only. in most of the school I've seen ASFAB administered to. But, you know, that's just one tool, because vocation is also an area to go, and I'm glad that you mentioned it earlier, and that's come I decided to just piggyback off it.
Correct.
Was I'm glad that you all in the school district realize that every student is not going to college.
No.
And although a student may not have the mental aptitude to score 800 on a SAT, that same student can do real well in auto mechanics or some other vocation skills. In fact, better than the individual that scored 800
Exactly.
on the SAT. And with that type of understanding, I'm quite sure that we're going to do good things in our school district.
Yes.
And I'm just thrilled at the bond that we're going to get new schools. And I understand from listening to you that you all understand that we're dealing with a different school district as opposed to if you go to one of the suburbs where you have most of the individuals living out there. The median income is probably about $150,000 to $200,000, and you know, so their students are getting the best teaching, and they also have high mental altitude. So there are a lot of things that our school district have to deal with, and we have to be prepared with. You talked about being the teacher, combing their hair, providing a meal, providing a place to stay. You know, these other schools, there are a lot of schools that not stay. We're not the only one, but probably there are a lot of other school districts that they can concentrate on only teaching.
Correct.
They don't have to deal with all of this. The fact that we are more minority school district in itself, you know. So there's a lot that you all are dealing with at the school district that I understand after traveling worldwide and being involved with school and having an interest in all school districts. But I think you all are doing a wonderful job. I understand where you are with the bond. I understand where you are with the hiring practices and the contracting, Ms. Jean, and I think that you all have a good handle on it. And a lot of time, Ms. Jean, you know, yourself don't get to be out on the mic, but we know that you're the one behind the scene that makes the overall over there look good, you know.
I totally agree.
And
you have to surround yourselves by good people.
You know what, Doc? No one never understands. A leader is good, but a smart leader surrounds himself with good people.
Exactly.
And those that are not good, a good leader eliminates.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you'll always be doing well.
Correct.
Because what we said earlier, there's no utopia.
No.
There's nothing perfect. And
we're in the business to win it.
yeah. And you have to deal with crisis.
Yes.
You know, when things come up, you have to be able to deal with it. You have to deal with it head on. And you got to be prepared to do that every day. There's no such thing as everything's going to work smooth today. You come in, you know it's going to be something, somebody going to bring across your desk, Ms. Jean, and you know, you're going to see the same thing too. You know, and I know the last thing that I have is, I know that we're working, the EDC is working in conjunction with the Lamar State University doing, what they call that, drivers, No, I ain't talking about that either. Yeah, what's it called, like? CDL. Okay,
Yes, we are.
all right. We about 10 of us in here, and of all of us, David had to come up with the answer. Now I really feel bad. David beat me to that one. Okay.
Yeah,
but
we are, and we're proud of that because we understand a lot of individuals want to know why did we partner. We're like the school district will partner in order for our community to do better. We're Lamar State College, the City of Port Arthur, and the Port Arthur Independent School District. We had the buses that could be used. And why not? share in order for our adults in our community to have the access and the capabilities of getting something better. We have the bond, we have different jobs that will be coming up, and why not assist with the process in order for everyone to do better?
Well, I mean, let's face it, you might get a couple of drivers.
Exactly.
I mean, it ain't like, hey, it ain't like you ain't hurting for some, okay? So the real deal is we're gonna get some driver. But in order for the school district to excel and improve, we need that type of cooperation. We need city, Lamar State College, we need the partnership and create training and get together, put a pot of money geared toward a certain thing. This time it was bus driving. Maybe it's, the next project could be something else that would incorporate kids being able to be trained in order to become employable and hopefully remain here in our city and not have to move away in order to find work. So I was just thrilled to find out that we're doing that. We're finally getting to where I'm used to seeing school districts. I'm used to seeing school districts that are supported by community, like each refinery here in the city. It's something I would love to see. And I heard somebody tell me, oh, we got that. Well, the thing about it is, we don't have that if we don't see that making it. See, because I'm used to seeing a refinery says we're going to adapt this school. I'm looking for the refinery to provide tutors there certain days a week. I'm looking for a refinery to have a nice sign out from that refinery saying we support this school. I'm looking at that refinery being able to send out people to help with the spring cleaning. That is, let's get it back up to par around the school. And when the school sponsor trips or something, being able to assist with funding and stuff. That's what I think is important. Okay, there's a lot of things that you can accomplish whereby the community, businesses, and everybody can sponsor that can bring your curriculum and what you offer to kids to another level. You only get so much money for field trips. But if people sponsor them, you could get more. You could do more. So, I hope that people realize that the school district alone will not be able to provide things that they would want to make it even better, because you only gonna get so much funding, and that's you can do with only what you have money for. But without giving money to the school district, but funding some of these things and helping can enable you to do more. And if you do more, it's only for the benefit of our kids and our school district. And hopefully we can continue and grow and everybody work together and understand that our school district is being led by individuals like yourself and Ms. Jean and Mr. Gatwood and the rest of your faculty, teachers and administrators, but that we should not leave the responsibilities for teaching and helping students to just our educators. It takes a whole effort, and if you can't help, don't hurt. And I enjoyed having you all today, and I can tell you I look forward to our next time, because it will be next time, because you will be coming back and letting us know how we're doing with the job. Ms. Jean, since you're the subject matter expert, when I want to know about what's happening with the job next time, I'll just give you a call and invite you. I don't need the superintendent to come up here and say, Miss Jean, can you answer it? I'll just let everybody know in the city that when you want to know something about that area of it, then we'll have her, and maybe next time you bring another
Exactly.
member of your staff, a coach or something that may answer things, and you can introduce them to them. The idea is get the information out to the people.
We have several people that are experts in their own areas.
Yeah.
Ms. Jeans is business and
Right.
finance, so she's over that. Dr. Getwood is curriculum instruction. Dr. Vine, curriculum instruction, along with Dr. Imogene Ward. We have Mr. Weibel, who is over the human resources. We have Coach Andre Boutte, and all those different people that are expertise in their area, and that's the area they like to be in, so they can talk. I know a little bit about it all, but they can get into the nitty gritty of it.
Well, you know, that's a true leader in any great organization. You don't know all the details.
Exactly.
You just gotta know enough about it to know whether they're doing the job right or not.
Exactly.
Okay, all the little nuts and bolts, that's up to them.
Exactly.
As long as I know it's good, then that's all I need to know about your field.
Exactly.
Just enough to know if you good or not.
Exactly.
That's the mark of good leaders. But I enjoyed it,
Well, thank you.
and I look forward to having more faculty in, and hopefully the listeners will get a preview. We'll start announcing it far in advance. You and I try to set a schedule up so that we can put it out to the general public when you all going to be on the show, and so they could be prepared to call in. As you've seen today, we got some people who are really concerned and interested in the school
Definitely
district.
enjoyed them.
You know,
Thank you.
anything you all want to say closing?
We just appreciate you asking us to come, and we're looking forward to the next time.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, it's your city with Harold Doucet, and we had Superintendent Mark Porterie and Ms. Jean, the business guru at our school district, and they answered the questions that were called in. And as always, hoping you will have a great week, and I won't be here next week. I'll be out on a cruise out in the Gulf of Mexico. So it's your city to be definitely yours next Monday, and I won't be around, but I will be back the following Monday. And who knows, maybe I could find somebody to come in and bring you some good information anyway. Until then, enjoy.
All right.